It's a beautiful windy Wednesday. A very good morning to you, a very good morning to Zambia and those that are watching us across the globe. This is the Sunrise Breakfast Show coming to you live on Top Station 110 and streaming live on our Facebook page. That is PTV2 Zambia. My name is KAPILI Dominic.
Of course, my name is RHODA, and just the feeling of knowing that you have been watching Prime TV2 makes us feel really, really good this morning. And of course, it is another day and another opportunity to get to reflect and also just to look at some of the things or stories that have been making headlines both on social media and also on television and radio as well. How are you feeling this morning, Dominic? How's the weather?
The weather is good. I feel rejuvenated today. I feel better than I was feeling yesterday.
I can see. I can tell.
What can
Very
you see?
energetic. Yeah. Always energetic.
always, all the time.
Are you a morning person?
Yes. I am an every time person actually. So I can wake up any time of the day, any time of the night. At any point, I'll always have the energy to, to do something different and be happy and always show up.
Yeah. Do you have like a morning ritual when you wake up in the morning? What do you do? What really gives you the energy?
So the first thing I do when I wake up is I first pray. Of course, yes, not all the time, but when I remember to pray, I do pray. And I like to listen to gospel music. Yes, and put myself in that situation where I put myself in a cocoon where I can reflect on what I want to be and what I want to achieve, what I've not achieved, and move on with my morning. Actually, I don't know about you. How are your mornings?
I pray when I wake up. I obviously check what's happening on social media. You may find that the world has ended, so it's very important to check. And also, I listen to music, like energetic music that will put me in the mood to just do things, clean up here and there. I think that is basically my morning ritual. I think we all have days that start off a bit gloomy, but something that makes you happy and keeps you energetic really, really should definitely work for you.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now, of course, for the next 2 hours, we are going to be unpacking stories shaping our democracy, our values, and, of course, our future. And you can also join the conversation by simply calling us on the number 0972 036306. That is 0972 036306. Or do comment on our live feed that is on Facebook. Now, Dominic, before we dive in, what question should the Zambian people be asking themselves this morning?
I think the question is big, but it's also quite very uncomfortable. The question is, are we living the values we keep talking about, or are we just reporting on them? Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest and uncomfortable question that we should ask ourselves, or that's on the Zambian minds today. Yeah.
I think that is very important because sometime this week the president will definitely get to address Parliament in terms of national principles and values. And we definitely are looking forward to hearing from him, especially that he is the father of the nation. And there's a lot of things that have been happening, especially with the young people. And so it is also a time to just reflect on how, society has been taking some of these issues, or how this generation is just, using social media to their advantage, or are they using it well? Are they misusing it? I think that is a conversation that we'll also be having as we go on with the show, with some of the stories that are happening currently.
Yes, speaking of which, I want to believe that with the times that are changing and with the coming in of human rights being intensified and with the coming in of technology being part of our lives, coming in of AI, we need to reflect and look back where we came from, look at our norms, look at our culture, look at what raised our fathers to be where they are today. So we need not to forget where we came from, but always remember and put in mind these things. And I think this is a question that we should always ask ourselves on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis, so that we know where we're going and not lose track. But anyway, the program today is unpacked and it is also deliberate. So we begin with the headlines, of course, that are shaping national conversation, but later we'll go quite deeper. This Friday, President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA will address Parliament on national values and principles, just something we're talking about. Is this a report card or a mirror held up to national concerns? We'll be joined also by a member of the Republic Progressive Party, an alliance partner of the UPND, to interrogate that address and the political movement, the political movement Zambia finds itself in. Those are the things that, this is the overview of what we're going to be having today, and these are things that we have packed for our viewers that are watching us.
And of course, Dominic, the timing could not be more critical. We are witnessing mass defections, particularly from the Patriotic Front in Central and Western provinces. So is this political realignment or political survival? That is one question that we are asking ourselves. And is the opposition reorganizing or quietly collapsing?
Yeah, then we're also going to go on and also wrap up the show with sports. But even in serious national movements, Zambia breathes through sports, So, dear viewers, stay with us. Of course, those are watching us on Topstar, Channel 110, and those are streaming live on our Facebook page. You can catch us there. And we're also streaming on our YouTube page, that's PTV2 Zambia, and also on our website, that is ptv2zambia.com. Joining the conversation, don't just get involved, don't just get informed. You also need to get involved. We need this collective conversation. And, let's give answers where answers are due.
Of course. Now, what is the Sunrise Breakfast Show without checking out the weather? It's very important as you go out to know what you should wear, because the weather sometimes gets to change. So you need to wear something that is suitable for all weathers. So let's have a look at the weather across the country. Well, it seems like it's going to be a gloomy morning. We don't expect any sunshine this morning, but obviously, as we go on with the day, we will have little to no sunshine, and then so yeah, definitely you can use that to put one or two things together in terms of your outfits, what to wear. Now, before you start receiving alerts, bank alerts, before before you start downloading loan apps, it's very important that we have a look at our money markets. How is the kwacha performing today?
All right, so the dollar is buying at 18 kwacha 13 ngwe and selling at 18 kwacha 48 ngwe. The euro is buying at 21 kwacha 74 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 97 ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 24 kwacha 90 ngwe and selling at 25 kwacha 05 ngwe. The rand is buying at 1 kwacha 16 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 18 ngwe. Those are the rates for today, but remember they vary from bank to bank.
Absolutely. Now, moving on, we still have quite a number of things jam-packed for you this morning on our program. Do not forget, it is the Sunrise Breakfast Show, and you're catching us live on Topstar Channel 110. We're also live on Facebook. There is no excuse if you're leaving the house. You can watch us on your phone as long as you have enough data, as well as on our YouTube channel. Now, let's have a look at some of the stories making headlines in our news. Now, UPND Media Director Max Muwe has dismissed claims that President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA is responsible for the delayed burial of former President Edgar Lungu. So now he says the delay stems from legal challenges by the former First family following a court ruling allowing government to repatriate and bury the late president. 8 months later, the nation still awaits.
United Party for National Development Media Director Max Muwe is urging citizens to support President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA on his decision concerning the burial of late former President Edgar Lungu, stating that the said decisions are in accordance with the law, both Zambian and South African, which aim at giving the former president a befitting and dignified send-off.
Edgar Lungu was not an ordinary citizen. He was the head of state. So, by conduct and by practice, as a general practice, the state took interest to ensure that the former head of state is given a befitting, dignified send-off. Government has been very consistent. That has been also the prayer of the president. There has been a lot of interest from the state to ensure that the right thing is done. To start with, from the legal standpoint, confronting the various pieces of legislation that we have, including the burial site for former head of state, which is a creature of statutes established by the law.
Mr. Simue has therefore condemned those that are blaming President HICHILEMA for the late burial of the former president, stating that the delay is being caused by the former First family that have since challenged the court's decision that granted the Zambian government the right to repatriate and bury the former president.
So we need to leave President HH out of this. He has done over and above. And we call upon well-meaning Zambians to rally behind the government. We have also heard from our colleagues who are assuming that the decision by South African police was only undertaken after the African mining industry. Is it President HH who told all the presidents to convene in South Africa? For you to assume that when HH went there, that is when now the South African authorities acted. South Africa was hosting an international function. President HH went there to attend as head of state.
Mr. Simue has urged the opposition to desist from unfounded criticism and instead applaud government on the recent improvement in electricity supply to citizens, the salary increment, and the performance of the dollar, among other achievements. Reporting for Prime Television News, Namangolwa Mshokawanji.
Now, Dominic, this raises, a painful question. When law, politics, and grief collide, who speaks for national dignity?
RHODA, when such things happen, I feel it's very unfair to actually blame the head of state when such an occurrence goes on. I feel that the young people in the country and the intellectuals are the ones that are supposed to, come out and speak and actually give out an objective point of view. Because this situation looks at two parties, and this is the leadership of the former Patriotic Front, allegedly the Student Patriotic Front, and also the UPND. So we are seeing quarrels, arguments, and misunderstandings at that level, and we see it now coming into a conversation that is dragging the nation into being victims, because the late former head of state was our father too. He was not just the father of Tasila, or just the father of Chawama, or just the father of PF, but he was the father of the nation, and we need to give him a dignified send-off. So now they are dragging us into those wrangles which we are not supposed to be in. But hey, this is what leadership calls for, and this is what leadership demands. If you are not ready for such things, don't even get into leadership.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is the people that are supporting that our president should not come want to be leaders, and they're exposing themselves, and we're seeing the caliber of leadership that they have. You need to have a thick skin and be ready to see and be ready for such things. Otherwise, we actually condemn this. Most Zambians condemn this, and they are tired of what's going on, and we're just waiting to see what the family will do. We just hope the family will reconsider, but our hearts remain with our mother, Madam Amaiwa Esther, and also Tasila and the family. Our hearts remain with them, and we pray that the Lord may, touch their hearts, and they might find rest, and they might reconsider to bring the president back. But going on forward, meanwhile, Astro Muntu Foundation has expressed concern over disturbing videos circulating on social media showing girls sharing alleged inappropriate statements made by a chemistry teacher at school in Lusaka's Kabanana area. The video, the pupils claim that the named teacher allegedly uses language during lessons that is deemed inappropriate, unfit for children, and potentially harmful. The foundation director says that teachers play a critical role in shaping the learner's process of pupils and must therefore uphold the highest standards of professionalism and communication. Let's take a look at this.
The language that he uses when communicating with the learners, our main concern, it's the girl child, because such language disturbs the school environment and sends a very bad picture to the learners. But above all, we trust a school environment to be a place where children are taught of good morals, good language, and a good approach towards society. So if a teacher is using such kind of language when communicating to learners, it also breaks the barrier between the relationship between a teacher and a girl child. In most cases, we've come across of situations where a girl child has been defiled or rude to have sex with a male teacher. This is because most teachers have taken away the professionalism that they are supposed to implement when carrying out their duties. So it is for this reason, as an organization, that we are appealing to the relevant authorities, that is the Ministry of Education, to ensure that such teachers are kept in check and they are reminded of how to carry out their duties professionally. As parents, we send our children to school, and we believe a school should be a safe environment where children should be all taken care of, not to be exposed to bad behavior, bad language, and so on and so forth. ZICTA issued a statement where they were warning members of the public against the bad use of social media, especially exposing children to bad language, exposing children to bad information whilst they are on social media. They emphasize so much on protecting our children whilst they are on cyber.
Quite very sad. The biggest question is, if schools are meant to be safe places, what happens when the authority becomes a threat? Rhoda, what's your take on that?
Firstly, I would like to say that we do know that social media can spread content quickly without obviously context, and that young people are often the ones who are most affected positively or be it negatively. But what really gets shared online really goes viral, especially if it's something as sensitive as that. What I think should be done is that obviously in the first place, schools are meant to protect, students' privacy and dignity. Or if we are going to spread something on social media, we know about how young people should be protected on social media. And of course, also let the school and authorities investigate. If there's anything inappropriate that is going on, it needs to be handled responsibly and transparently. we cannot conclude, you know, from what we are seeing in the clip. But obviously what we know is that there is definitely something that is going on. If that is how a teacher speaks to the pupils, then it should be worrying. But also we need to leave it to the school to do a thorough investigation on if that exactly is happening in the school. The teacher needs to be held accountable if that is what is exactly happening in the school, because it's worrying, and a lot of parents have expressed concern as to what exactly goes on in their schools, especially that it is the girl child that we are looking at there.
But when you look at it from a different, I want you to look at it from a different point of view, Rhoda. Do you think or believe that that was the right way that the pupils had to report that? Don't you think that the students also need to have some level of respect for themselves and for social media? Because, hey, when someone insults and I go on social media and say the same insult, does it make me better than them? Because they looked very excited in those videos doing whatever they were saying that was inappropriate. I don't know if that was reporting or that was excitement. So I'm now getting to think this, if these things are true, this means that there's a mutual understanding between the students, or sorry, the pupils and the teacher, because it looks like they enjoyed whatever they're alleging is, you know. So it looks like there's some relationship, or maybe one of the two parties dragged the other into some conversation. I think this needs to really be investigated further.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It needs to be investigated, but it's sad to see that young people did rush to social media to air out their concerns, if that is the case. But obviously there are better ways of handling such issues. And I know that obviously the head teacher or teachers at that school were really shocked when they came across that video.
Oh yeah, that is quite very sad, and we just hope that going forward we will actually see young people do things differently and treat social media in a different way and report things the right way. I think those kids need to be, the children need to be cancelled, and they really need therapy, you know, on how to handle things and do things.
All right, so it's social media we're talking about, so it's best that we also go through some of the comments. All right, so this one says, did you see a teacher in the post? Find something to probe. Okay. There are quite a number of comments here, but maybe let's just look at the ones that are. All right, so Kapakasatimo says, truth be told, if the teacher said those things in class, he was just being truthful and calling a spade a spade. What?
Did you hear the comments?
He was just trying to tell the pupils what not to do in a language the pupils best understand.
No.
No. This should not even be supported.
That guy is a culprit.
I'm telling you. So Danny Siame says there are no insults in science. I think it's just the local language used, which made it sound as insults. The other thing is it's because these are girls, so the statements may sound inappropriate or insults. Otherwise, nothing wrong here. Also, sex education is important, especially to these 2P and 2005 generation who are full of experiments. In the Western world, they made these topics compulsory to wonder, or maybe he meant to say, no wonder they have reduced teen pregnancy. To us who were taught at boys' school with no social media, it used to be a normal language and part of learning, no dull moments. I think people need to differentiate between...
People should understand. That's chemistry, not biology, number one. Number two, you cannot give sexual examples in class to make people understand something different. Chemistry and biology are two different subjects, and they're two different topics. We're talking about atomic reactions this side. We're talking about the body in itself. And in biology, it's not only sexual stuff. There is everything about the digestive system, from the jejunum to the ileum to all the other parts of the body. You know what I mean? And you cannot just give. No, that's not right, and we will not accept that.
Maybe he is a science teacher. Not that I'm supporting this, but maybe just to clarify something. Maybe he is a science teacher and not just a chemistry teacher. Maybe science in general.
That is insemination of the mind. They're just playing with our heads. You cannot do such things. You cannot.
So now, looking at these comments, somebody else says, did it become inappropriate by using the local language?
The issue is the
because
instance
they
behind
learn the
it.
same things in biology and some subjects. Leave the teacher alone. That's the way he motivates his learners. Come on, guys.
No, colleagues, no.
Really? Those girls, do they have parents, if I may ask? Obviously. Dennis Jaffet says he just gives advice in a funny way. Pupils are just corrupt.
Pupils are just corrupt.
Soko says the school is, I won't mention the name of the school. I don't think this is appropriate. Tony M. Lungu says this is, they're mentioning the school. Temwani says, let them report him, KAPILI, for any action to be taken. Given says this is a two-way thing. Teachers are supporting the teacher. Some former pupils and parents are supporting the pupils. There is the teaching council. Let them investigate the matter and find a way forward because both the pupils and teachers are wrong. So now, interestingly, after this was posted, there was another young girl that posted a video saying, this is my former school. I don't know why these girls are coming out and putting these things on social media. This particular teacher has always been like that. It's just that some of us have just kept it to ourselves.
So it's been like that?
Yeah.
I think that teacher should, in the school, and the former pupils should attend the national address. We should ask for space so that at least they're in the front row as the president addresses, how we should act as a country and our national values, because this is not right.
Yeah, I think there's a way that you can motivate or speak to your pupils in terms of warning them to stay away from bad vices without using vulgar language. Because if you watch that video carefully, I don't think there's any sort of advice there.
No. Does he look at these pupils as sexual objects? Because that's not right. You cannot give such examples. There are many more other ways. He's gone to school to learn how to teach. I don't want to believe that whatever college he went to, whatever university he went to, they told them to say, go and look at people as sexual objects, and students will understand when you talk about sex. That's not right.
I think also no parent would be happy to watch their kids being spoken to in such a manner. We definitely need, an investigation to just be done at that particular school and see how far that particular case goes, because a lot of reactions have, been made, a lot of statements from different schools, people who are in leadership in schools, head teachers, a lot of statements have been given out, but we'll definitely see how this particular case unfolds for the good of probably the teacher as well and the pupils.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we definitely move on, and we do have quite a number of other stories that have been making headlines. And in Western Province, residents of Simonolui in Lilui Upper Ward of Mongo have appealed to the government to urgently consider connecting the area to the main piped water supply. So now the community, whose population is steadily increasing, is currently not linked to the public water network, forcing residents to depend on private boreholes for their daily water needs. The residents have lamented that access to water has become costly, with households paying between 1 kwacha and 2 kwacha per container, a situation they say is unsustainable for many families. More in the following report.
Simonoloi in Mongo district is one of the fastest developing settlement areas, particularly the areas of Winela as well as the other side of Forest Compound. However, there is a challenge in this part of the district, as many households here do not have access to safe, clean drinking water, apart from those that have boreholes. And mostly, people have to pay 1 kwacha per container to those that have boreholes at their places in order for these others to benefit or to have access to this precious commodity. Now, imagine a situation where one does not have that 1 kwacha. It means they won't have water in their home. Their main appeal to the government now is to ensure that water points are put in this area to ensure that
mezi kambe musono kakona kubona fateni kuli ukone kufumana muko akuli batu bakone kufumana mezi ipira kweza kulikonji amuna ni maboho kona mkona kutusea baba sina bapira kulifa kwa batu akusina bapira mwa mezi mwa mikwakwa mukupunyeire mapaipe aba water and storage kona mubaka mezi batu amasira
kuli bako bana ni matanki iba niwona babula kwakuli malaiti atubula kono kujya fasi boki ingalo nabaza kuli kituma piece work uboneka bupya kupimisa peni mezi ya kupimisa kiutata butu nalo.
Area councillor for this place has this comment to give regarding the appeal that has been made by the community members here.
Osi bagasinzu kwa siziyelele bagenza kuli batu bayipilisa ku kamezi kwa ma private boreholes kona kuli sichaba sese na private boreholes satulisa cost ya ku kamezi mukahuma ku dramu iya mwendifa 10 or 20 kwacha, which is very expensive for a family of 10 abapira mala pa kwitusa almost more than 20 kwacha kwa kukamezi. Mi kyani yaza age nekeli sinamuzo wake musebezo wa kansela kikweza lobby on the behalf of the community members lwayanga kwa mbola nibona kono nibona balose pisize kuli mwendio na famachi abakakala kupompa mezi azwa kwaza mbezi kona bakoto kwalula ale mapepe na pumbekiro kubona kuli mezi azwa kwali pompi.
Water is one of the most critical things that any living being cannot do without. Hence, the need for these people to be connected or supplied with clean water. For Prime TV News here in Mongo District, Marcus Bransakwita reporting.
Obviously, Dominic, in 2026, water remains a privilege, not a right, with only 4 years remaining to 2030, where Zambia made a commitment to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And, of course, one of them is about water. Do you think we will succeed with such challenges by 2030, having access to clean water, like everybody having access to clean water and good sanitation?
I think that highly depends on our attitude towards achieving our sustainable development goals. You know, it has a lot to do with each particular leader that we put into office.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with our civic leaders. It has a lot to do with our attitude also as the opposition. Is the opposition going to be objective? Because the country runs smoothly with an objective opposition. If the country has an objective opposition, the country will move and will attain a sustainable development, economic development, end. So it depends on all these players.
Yeah.
It can't be only dependent on the government alone. No.
Yeah.
So all these players need to play a part. Then we'll attain it by 2031.
Of course, as it stands, a significant portion of Zambians, we do know that they still lack basic water services, especially in rural and peri-urban areas. And of course, many communities rely on unprotected sources like rivers, unprotected wells or ponds. This increases the risk of waterborne illnesses. So estimates from recent data show that around 27% of households lack basic water access. The poorest households are hit hardest. Around 60% lack basic services. 21% of schools have no basic water access. And of course, 13% of health facilities lack any water service. In terms of sanitation and hygiene, about 63% of households lack basic sanitation services, 82% of households lack basic hygiene facilities, and, you know, the rest goes on. But in terms of health impact, lack of safe water and sanitation contributes to cholera, diarrhea, typhoid, and other diseases, a major risk for children's health and survival as well. So it's like we still have a long way to go. And this means that Zambia has made some progress otherwise as compared to the last statistics that we did check towards the SDG goal number 6, community achievements, projects underway. However, many people still lack access to reliable clean water and adequate sanitation, especially in rural and peri-urban areas. So this gap directly affects public health, children well-being, and economic developments. Efforts continue, but significant work remains before Zambia meets the 2030 SDG goal number 6. that is currently what's on the ground in terms of clean water and sanitation as we're heading towards 2030, which seems like it's very far away, but
very close.
Very close.
Yeah. Anyway, going forward, one of our reporters, one of our staffer, Namangolo, reports that some residents in Nyumbayanga township of Lusaka have called on the Lusaka City Council to immediately stop the ongoing construction works on land reserved for the children's recreation facility. The residents argue that the land was specifically set aside for recreational use and should not be developed without proper consultation and authorization. Meanwhile, the area councillor has confirmed that the local authority did not issue any approval for the construction works on their disputed land. Let's look at the details in this report.
Some Nyumbayanga community members in Lusaka have been graced to a shock after a reserve land in the area that was unoccupied for several years has been earmarked for construction. Suspecting political party cadre activities, the residents, through their representative, are calling on the local authorities to immediately halt the ongoing works, suggesting that the reserve land can instead be made into a recreation facility for children in the area to keep busy and away from alcohol and drug abuse.
And it has been given to people, so we have protested. We want the national authority to tell us which people have they sold this portion behind me, because they could have said, the people within this community, do you need this or not? They can't take it away from us and give it to others. No, we want this portion as the Nyumbayanga community. It's what we want. And nobody is going to have it. Whether they have got money or they don't, we don't have money. We are fighting for this place. It should be for our babies, our boys. That's why they say boys, they drink. If they have got nowhere to play, can't they drink or smoke? We want this portion to be for the Nyumbayanga boys and girls.
And area councillor for Lubwa Ward says council did not issue out any permission for construction works on the said reserve land and is therefore calling on the said individuals doing the works to produce documentation in order to prove the legality of their planned works.
Those people must have documents. If they don't have documents, they should not continue doing anything there. And I don't think they have the documents. But anyway, we may not know. I'm trying to find the day when I can meet with them. Why do they do it privately? They are there, another time they're not there. If they're really doing it and have the documents, we need to see the documents, if they have the documents, that is. But the bottom line is that those parks are recreational facilities that are kept for the people, and the people themselves must be able to decide what activities should be done on such places. Of course, for them to be pleased, because it's very well known that anybody else cannot go there unless approved by council in line with what the people want.
A visit on the site by the Prime Television news crew found preparations for the construction already done, as trees have been cut and building blocks have already been delivered. Reporting for Prime Television News, Namangolo Mshokamanji.
All right, so yeah, recreational facilities should be kept, and this should actually be the order of the day in each and every area. But going forward, just watching the Sunrise Breakfast Show, we're coming to live on Top Station 110 and streaming live on our Facebook page, that is PTV2 Zambia. Now, about 320 supporters of the two opposition political parties, PF and Socialist Party in Luena constituency in Western Province, have ditched their parties to join the ruling UPND. The defectors, led by ward officials, have cited lack of direction and leadership in the two opposition parties. Western Province UPND chairperson, speaking when receiving the new members, called for unity among old and new members in order for the party to grow. Here is the report.
In a major blow for the opposition political parties, the Patriotic Front, PF, and Socialist Party, 320 members have defected to the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, in Luena constituency of Western Province. The defectors cited lack of direction and leadership in their former parties as well as the appeal of President Hakainde Hichilema's developmental policies.
UPND ifumanisize batukuba ni bupiro bobunde bana baluna fasikolo fane bapira kama tata ni heba malo baloni bapalelwa kono UPND aitiro kena kutiro fumane hakuli kachekule se balobala mwa boarding ye ya hiroki UPND tawa communication ne lusina kono ba UPND abatile fast pula bakonde kulufatawa
batune bapala kukena misebezi kono misebezi ikenwi kabungata lwi babanja babune baza kuikufeza likosi bafeza ma 10 years kono fanse kunani into yetu na ruboni kwa sise kulukshimbuluke kulo kwae kulutel tobereksana ni puso ye.
The new members were welcomed by UPND Western Province Chairperson Kapilambangweta, who emphasized the importance of unity and hard work among both old and new party members.
Lwamyamuhera inga kubulezwi lubata kuli mubeleke hande luine hande kakozo luske lwaititika kusina lusebo and so on. Kachenu kuzwa kachoni mina muyoba tama members babamu alukaeza chwalo pati aluna ikahula pati aluna ikawina nako aikataha mirelu betela kuli lweze chwalo lubata kuli hakainde atofeleza mihupulo ya hai.
Senior party officials also spoke during the meeting, urging residents to support the UPND and its leadership and encouraging more individuals to join the party.
Chale right tumela kuli minaba hizi fanji mba 300 musile tu party to tusina tuso ana moma kwasha kuna baholanga aliboneni baba holanga makwasha aliboneni kana right lubata chwana kuli to tupati to tukata atutofelisa kuli minama kwasha muhole malata chwalo mwalata kuli tupati to tukata atutofelisa free education kwine mulifanga papa skolosa nangula kona kuli alutoko meleni Hakainde hatoba president ma 2021 population yanaye netwa babuka changwe 20 million kono Hakainde ali naziba nina anani hula neni ya kwa sikolo nisema katulo hali nao tusisabutuku kwa mwana ndiyala ya sinana tani mae yatuwa kwa sikolo nao tusisabutuku wa mchembele yana ndiyala yatuwa kulibai kuliae bai kwa sikolo bayo muta hai nimata kumibwea chwana nili hai bandikuna nitu soda kuikama maupila waluna kisikolo sante mangshangwe Samahala Zambia.
For Prime TV News in Luena constituency, Marcus Bransak Peter report.
All right, so there you have it. Now we're joined by governance expert Humphrey Kabwe this morning. Good morning, Mr. Humphrey. How are you today?
Correction.
To discuss this in length, we'll be joined this morning by governance expert, Mr. Humphrey Kabwe. Good morning, Mr. Humphrey. Looks like we're going to have Mr. Humphrey soon. Looks like we're having some technical issues. But there you have it. The chairperson calls for unity, and the members who have defected are actually saying they've defected because there is no direction and there's no proper leadership. We'll take a break, and after the break, we'll try to join in Mr. Humphrey.
Right, so before we go for that break, I think Mr. Humphrey is just getting ready right now, and we'll be having him online just to highlight quite a number of issues that the President will definitely be addressing in Parliament. We do know that the last time that the President did address Parliament talking about national principles and values was actually last year. In February, where he highlighted quite a number of issues like the importance of, one Zambia, one nation, the importance of unity. And he also emphasized that we should not just be using one Zambia, one nation, speaking it, but also we should act like it. He also did highlight quite a number of issues in terms of tribalism. So we also just want to find out how far we've gone from when the President did talk about that. But it's like we do have, our governance expert, Mr. Humphrey Kabwe, ready to speak to us this morning. Good morning and welcome to the Sunrise Breakfast Show.
Picture.
Good morning, Mr. Kawel. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Kawe. Can you hear me?
Technical glitch, but we'll still be joined by Mr. Kabwe, and the conversation stream remains the same. We have the opposition complaining of a lack of direction. We have the opposition also saying lack of proper leadership. But henceforth forward, we are going to discuss in depth with governance activist Humphrey, who we are trying to actually have and discuss with. Mr. Humphrey, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Mr. Humphrey. How are you today?
Good morning, Michael.
Thank God we have him.
Thank God. We were trying to get a hold of you for like, I think the network is quite bad. But you're welcome to the Sunrise Breakfast Show here on Prime Television Zambia 2.
Thank you very much. I'm happy we are back.
All right. Now,
obviously, you know, we have quite a number of issues that we will be discussing this morning. But firstly, this Friday, President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA will address Parliament on national values and principles. From a governance perspective, what should Zambians listen for to know whether this address is serious reform or just a political ritual?
Thank you very much. I think I'm just saying I'm a PF for Copper Belt Youth Information Publicity Secretary, not as a governance activist.
Okay, thank you very much for that correction.
Yes. First of all, I think it's now his last speech to the nation, to Parliament, since he came into power. And he has been there giving those speech, addressing Parliament, addressing the nation. And most of the time, it brings excitement to the public, to the people, especially to praise singers and his cadres. And all the speeches that he addressed Parliament, I think we have never seen this country improving at all. When you speak of him, he's a very good public speaker. He likes exciting people. He likes to make sure that when he excites people praise him. But the Zambian people, what they want is that, especially the young people, they want when somebody addresses Parliament, it must translate into tangible things. It must translate into the improvement of their lives. It must create jobs. It must create business opportunities. It must create peace. It must create where there are no corruption. People feel free to speak out. People will not be cited for criticizing the president. People will not be arrested for reminding the president for the promises that he made. So for us as the Patriotic Front, especially among the young people and representing the young people in the country, we don't expect any different from the other speeches that he has given to Parliament.
But Mr. Humphrey, we have heard similar statements not only from President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, but also from other presidents who have been there before him. Can you point out any tangible behavioral change in leadership or public institution as a result, or have these addresses largely failed? We've not had such similar statements only with the President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, but also with past and previous presidents that came before him. The question is, can you point to any tangible behavioral change in leadership or public institution as a result of these addresses, or maybe such addresses have largely failed?
I think that's why when, for example, the president last time he talked about revamping the mining sector, okay? And when you come to the revamping of the mining sector, like I'll cite an example where I'm coming from, we have PCM. While in opposition, he publicly said Bandata was over long due to go. So meaning he supported the going of Bandata. And when he came into power, you, the media, and us, the opposition, we told the nation and him that he wanted to bring back Bandata. He publicly denied, and that was in Parliament. Okay? And he accused you, the media, of portraying a falsehood. Okay? But what happened? He came to Chingola and publicly said he had brought back Bandata. And when you look at the 2 years that Bandata has returned to KCM, there's no tangible evidence or any positive impact that Bandata has done in Chingola in terms of job creation, in terms of business opportunities, in terms of supporting the community. There's nothing that Bandata is doing. When you just critically go into even the workers themselves, the condition of service for KCM workers hasn't improved. So there's no difference that is going to make when it comes to make a speech this Friday. That speech is only about, because we believe come 13th of August is going out and is coming to say bye-bye to the Zambian people. I think that is the best thing he can do. Not again to appeal for the people of Zambia to give him the second vote. I think that will not be very fair to us as the Zambian people. I think it's all about rhetorics. What we want are leaders that are going, when they go into parliament and they talk about improving and reduction of the cost of living, and they will live by those words. And if they can't fulfill what they promise, what they say in parliament, it's better they come out and say, please, the Zambian people, I lied to you that I am going to reduce Ubunga to 50 kwacha. I lied to you that I'm going to reduce fuel to 12 kwacha. That is what we want to expect from a president. That is what we want to expect from a responsible leader. But that cannot happen from President HAKAINDE Hichilema. He will still come and give us more rhetorics. So the Zambian people do not expect anything that will bring joy, that will change their lives.
When you talked of, you gave a statement and said there's no job creation. When you talk of job creation, what exactly do you mean? Do you mean the number of employees should increase, or maybe the mines are operating with no manpower at all? What do you exactly mean when you talk about there are no jobs?
I'm going to go back to KCM and Mopani. Mm-hmm. When President HAKAINDE Hichilema came into power, Mopani was working, KCM was working. So KCM and Mopani wasn't closed. The way President HAKAINDE Hichilema and his leadership want to portray it. These mines were working and the workers were there. So when I talk and when we talk about job creation, it simply means when KCM had the 13,000 workers, when Bandata comes, according to the promises, and according to the reason why President HAKAINDE Hichilema decided to bring back Bandata, what we should expect from 13,000 workers, we should expect maybe 15,000 workers. We should expect maybe 20,000 workers. There must be an increment. When there is an increment, that is when we are going to say there is job recreation.
Oh, so you're talking about an increment.
The question of the mines working or not, it's neither there or here, because these mines were working. So we laugh as Patriotic Front and Chingola resident. We laugh at President HAKAINDE Hichilema when he talk about revamping the mines, when all the mines that he's talking about were working. So we don't know the kind of English that you want to portray to the Zambian people. You can only revamp something that was not working. Or if you talk about revamping it, it must make sure that in terms of production, in terms of job opportunities, in terms of business opportunity, they must increment. That's when you're going to talk about revamping, but it is not happening. When you come to KCM, I hope and challenge you, especially you, Prime TV, to come to Chingola and interview a number of people, interview the workers. If at all there is KCM has created employment in Chingola, the people of Chingola, the people of Chirabombo, they are daily complaining that Bandata has completely failed to create employment, which they promised to give to the Zambian people. If, for example, the investment that Bandata promised that they are going to invest $1 billion in KCM, Chingola could have not been like this today. We could have had a lot of opportunities happening in Chingola. but that is not happening. It is recently, I think you have seen, where the local contractors and the suppliers are complaining of business opportunities at Mopani. But they have given IRH, and I think it was even in the media, because of safety lapses at Mopani. Government had decided to shut down the mine. But here we have a new investor. If a new investor can fail to provide safety in the mines, because mining is about proper safety measures that should be put in place. But that is not happening. But why are we having investors who cannot provide safety? Why are we having investors who cannot provide business opportunities? I think this, as the Zambian people, it's high time we realize that the only way to benefit from the minerals that God gave us is by ensuring that the Zambian people began to manage this mining. That's why we are laughing as Patriotic Front, where the army commander can come publicly and say we are going to exterminate and fumigate illegal miners, and they chase out young people that are trying to find a living, young people that they have failed to provide employment. We really laugh. The only way you are going to develop a country is by ensuring that the Zambian become economic drivers. The Zambian become a center stage of managing the economic activities such as mining, tourism, manufacturing, and agriculture. That is the only way we are going to develop, but that cannot happen under this government, because these are capitalists who don't believe in the Zambian people. They believe in the foreigners. That's why today we are not benefiting, and they are able to go send soldiers and chase young people from their source of income, which is very unfortunate.
Okay, just a few weeks ago, I believe you also saw that there's some developments, major developments in the mining sector, where now we are actually selling our copper and our minerals actually, and China is able to buy directly using the yuan. And we saw some young small-scale miners, most of them a chunk, who are actually Zambians, who are actually excited about that development. And what's your take on that?
I think we have been selling. Let's not belittle the way the UPND want to bring things, please. We have been selling copper. We have been selling gold. We have been selling
direct
before.
In the yuan, using
it is currency? Not about selling. It is about the impact that selling is making to the Zambian economy.
We have seen the appreciation.
It is about the improvement of the lives of the Zambian people. That should matter. Okay? If you are selling and the economy is not improving, if you are selling and you are running to the IMF to borrow and your credit or debt is increasing, what's the benefit of that?
So what do you say?
Mr. Moderator, what's the benefit of that?
So what do you say to the appreciation of the kwacha?
Level. If you didn't.
Hello, Mr. Humphrey. Hello.
For myself and the children to improve, but that is not what is happening. If they are selling in yen, why are they borrowing?
Yes, I'm here, sir. We're listening. Hello? Hello, Mr. Humphrey, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Hello, Mr.
Humphrey.
Are you there?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
All right, so should national values now be tied to clear consequences such as sanctions for leaders who violate them, or are we afraid of enforcing ethics because it may be politically costly?
Okay, that's what we expected when they were talking about Bill 7. We expected President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA and his leadership to ensure that national values and principles are put into our constitution, that they become law. In as long as the national values and principles are not constitutionally in our constitution, that will continue to be useless to the Zambian people. That's why in Bill 7, in Bill 10, under the Patriotic Front, we wanted the national values and principles to become law. But that is not the case with the UPND. So if we are going to develop this country, and if we are going to make leaders to be responsible and accountable, we must make sure that the national values and principles become law. And when they become law, it will be very easy for me to take to a task any president who can lie, who can come on the podium and promise the Zambian people that they are going to reduce Miu at 50 kwacha, they are going to reduce fertilizer at 250 kwacha, and they don't do that, and they can continue to be president for the last 4.5 years. I think we got to be serious, and I'm challenging you as a media fraternity to make sure that leaders are accountable. That's why most of the time I have always told the media, especially on the copper belt, when we are interviewing us like the way you are interviewing me, you are putting me on record. And when you come back, for example, you go back into power, when we come back and you want to say, Mr. Kabwe and the Patriotic Front, you promise to reduce Ubunga, particularly 50 kwacha. You bring that clip and challenge me on that clip. If at all I've done that. But if you are not going to challenge us in that manner, we are going to get off the hook on the things that we promised, which is very unfortunate. It should not be about talking, but it should be about action. And that action must be provided to the Zambian people, because it is only action that will improve the Zambian people's lives, not words.
Mr. Kabwe, let's turn to the wave of defections that we are witnessing. In your assessment, are these defections driven by conviction or by fear of political irrelevance?
Thank you very much. We are in a democratic country, and people are free to associate themselves to any political organization or any organization. There's nothing wrong for people to defect from one political party to another. Even we have people that are defecting from the UPND to the Patriotic Front and other political party. There's nothing wrong. But today,
it seems we're having
a bit of problems with our network, but I hope that the viewers are able to still hear him, or will definitely be back if the network reconnects.
Yes, I actually like the fact that he highlighted one important aspect, and he said people have the right to actually choose whatever political party they want to join, and we are living in a democratic country. Hence, it's your right, it's your choice. Whenever, however, you feel that this is not working for you, you are able to choose a vehicle that you can ride on. After all, political parties are just vehicles that help us ride from one position to another position. If you feel at some point your ethics and your norms don't get along with that political party at the time, I believe there's no problem or there's no issue with you switching even at the last minute, because it's your democratic right after all. You know, that's what democracy brings, and that's how democracy is, unfortunately, and also fortunately.
And I think it's just right or very important. Oh, I think we do have him back online. Mr. Kabwe, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, network.
Okay. We seem to be having a lot of network problems, but we'll definitely still be speaking to you this morning. As we were saying, we did take note of the fact that you spoke about a lot of issues, but we also just concluded on your assessment on the defections driven, asking you if they're driven by conviction or by fear of political irrelevance. What was your conclusion on this issue?
Okay, so I was saying we are in a democratic countries, and people are free to join any political party. People are free to defect to any political party. We have seen people defecting from the UPND to the Patriotic Front and other political parties. So we have no problem from people defecting from the Patriotic Front to the UPND. But now my concern is this, or my question, my challenge to the UPND is this. We have seen from President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, senior UPND leaders that have said the Patriotic Front is dead. Now, can they tell us, are those ghosts, they are getting ghost defectors? If the Patriotic Front is dead, we don't expect the UPND to be coming on the platform and say, we have defectors from the Patriotic Front. How can you get defectors from a dead thing?
So now,
that's a challenge you should ask them.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, can a democracy remain healthy when opposition leaders defect instead of strengthening alternative voices?
No, what I'm saying is, it's you, the media, you must challenge the UPN. You have said the Patriotic Front is dead. Now, where are they getting those defectors if the party is not there? Why are they parading them to be Patriotic Front members if it is dead?
These are actually other statements
that simply means that's rhetoric.
Yes, but some of these statements are actually being made by senior party officials who held serious influence in the Patriotic Front. You can look at the statements that Mr. Davis Mwela gave, and honestly, after such statements that he gave, I don't think and believe that it would be noble of you to argue of the fact that it is not dead, or that people are ghosts, because already in your party right now there's destabilization. In your party right now the leadership is not united. In your party right now the people, even in your own party, are defecting on grounds that there's no proper leadership and there's no direction. What's your take, and why are you taking Stu that direction that it is not dead?
You know, I'm coming to that angle so that you challenge them, especially the UPND, that are telling you and me that we have defectors from the Patriotic Front. Then even the Honorable Davis Mwela is also borrowing what the UPND have been talking about, that the PF is dead. The other thing is that, like the way I said, the people are free to defect to any political party. It is their democratic right. We have people that are defecting honestly from the UPND because the UPND, President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, have failed to fulfill their campaign promises of improving the lives of the Zambian people by reducing the cost of living, by failing to fight corruption, by failing to...
Is that your submission?
Pardon?
When they defect from the UPND, it's honesty. But when they defect from the Patriotic Front, it is not real. You want people to come out and actually find out the truth. And when they speak negatively about the Patriotic Front, they are borrowing from the UPND. Is that your perspective?
No, me, I'm just following what the statement that the UPND have been giving. I'm not trying to put the words into their mouth. I'm just challenging them. Like the way I've said, the way you are interviewing me today, tomorrow we might come into power. And when I talk about something, when we promise about something, when we say something in the Patriotic Front manifesto, those are the things, those are the words you should challenge me on. You said this, but why are you doing it opposite? That's why I'm challenging the UPND. You are claiming that they have defectors, yet they have been saying the Patriotic Front is dead. That's my bone of contention. Okay, I am not against people defecting. I said in my statement when you asked about this that people are free to defect because it is a democratic right. But we should not be hypocritical in doing politics. We need people with integrity. We need people with principles. We need people with values, and this is one thing I refused and stopped, resigned from the economic front, because I know that the UPND leadership, they have no integrity, they have no morals, they have no principles. They can say this, and do the opposite. They told the nation that they were not going to be borrowing, but they have borrowed. They told the nation that they were not going to be stopping people from holding rallies. But only one political party has held rallies since the UPND came into power, and that is the Socialist Party. The rest of the party, they have denied them to hold rallies, okay? Abusing the Public Order Act. Is that the way that we are going to live in this country? Today,
Who was stopped to hold the rallies?
Pardon?
Which political party was stopped?
Were stopped to hold rallies.
The Patriotic Front have been stopped from holding rallies.
As of late, and as we all know, which is in public domain, there are a lot of wrangles and issues that are going on with the Patriotic Front itself. And I want to believe that probably it's because of the procedure that's there. Maybe you have news for us that we don't know.
No, the wrangles are internal wrangles, and that's the inter-party democracy. The UPND and government have no authority to interfere in the internal affairs of our political party. Okay?
Have gone to court.
It's our constitutional right as a party that those things must be there. And at one, when you look at the grassroots, for example, the structures of the Patriotic Front, you never hear such noise. Okay? It is the leaders that want to be president. Okay? Because everyone wants to be a president, and it is their democratic right. And at the right time, the Patriotic Front will emerge as one unity. The way it happened in 2014 after President Sata died. Okay? People thought that the Patriotic Front would not emerge or not even be on the ballot because there were similar wrangles. And it happened that President Lungu and the group, and even those that were against him, they came together.
So, Mr. Humphrey, let's get into the bucket of honesty. Is the opposition still strong enough to challenge the ruling party?
We will manage them, and definitely we will come up strong.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Humphrey, let's delve into the bucket of honesty. Is the opposition still strong enough to challenge the ruling party in 2026? Or maybe are we drifting towards a one dominant party system?
The opposition, first of all, I'll speak like this. The strongest opposition that the UPND are facing now is the Zambian people whom they promised to improve or whom they promised manna. That is the strongest opposition that they have. And they should not take it rightly. And that is why they are even capable to come up with laws that will stop the people from expressing themselves, like the cybersecurity law. Okay? Because they believe when the Zambian people remind them, when the Zambian people tell them that you told them to reduce the cost of living and you have not done that. You told the people of Chingoa that you will not bring back Vandata, you bring other investors that are going to do things and they bring back Vandata, and the Zambian people speak up. That is giving them pressure. The opposition as a party is just a vehicle that the Zambian people are looking to. Okay, that will help them win the 2026 general election. And the Zambian people, they know that the opposition are there and they know whom they are going to support and they know on how they are going to remove President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA. And definitely President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA will be removed. The political party opposition today, the only thing that we need now going forward is to remove the selfishness, to ensure that we come together. It's not about individual, but it's the Zambian people that we need to liberate from the UPND mediocre leadership. That is what we need, and it is going to happen very soon. I can assure you that's why even the UPND cannot allow the opposition to hold rallies. That is why even the indoors where you don't even need a so-called police permit for people who want to have a public rally. UPND today, they don't want to see the Patriotic Front on the ballot paper because they're afraid. So for us as the opposition, we are talking behind, especially the grassroots. We are assuring and telling them to remain united and ensure that they will help our leaders to come together. And once you become together, President HH and the UPND, they definitely know that they are going, and it's going to happen this year. We thank you so much, you, the media, that you are able to bring us so that we speak to our people, despite the UPND not allowing us to meet our people through public rallies. But we thank you that you, the media, are doing a very good job, that you are giving us a platform that we can reach out to the people, which is much better than even maybe holding a rally in a small place.
And finally, Mr. Kabwe,
opposition fails to recognize or to reorganize themselves before 2026, what are the long-term implications for accountability, democracy, and citizen choice?
The long implication is that the Zambian people are going to suffer more. The Zambian people are going to cry more. We don't need to miss this opportunity. It is not about the opposition. It is about you, the people of Zambia. Okay? Some of the people in the opposition and the leaders in the opposition, they are very well off in terms of their living. But what they are trying is to think about people in Matelo, people in Chawama, people in Chingola, how much they are suffering and how much they have suffered. Imagine for the last 2 years that the UPND suffocated the Zambian people with load shedding. People who had Tuma Saluni, Tuma Baba Shop, some of them will never resurrect. Some of them have died because of depression. Okay? So these are the things that we don't want to ensure that the UPND come be in power, and it must rest. And the other thing is that has brought embarrassment to this nation. It's the burial of a former president, Mweva UPND. It's so saddened. I have friends of mine outside this country that keeps on calling. Do you have leaders in that country that you can fail to bury a former president for the last 8 months?
Mr. Humphrey, sorry to cut you short. Have you heard any UPND official refuse to repatriate the body? Hello?
The UPND to be a president that failed to bury a former president?
Mr. Humphrey.
It's so disappointing.
Mr. Humphrey.
And it's so shameful. We have an empty grave for the last 8 months. That is why you have some useless group in South Africa organizing, trying to say, let's have postmortem. Now, when they
Mr.
have
Humphrey,
postmortem, are they
I would
going
like
to
to censure you that you are on public TV
country
and will not accept or allow you to call a useless group, looking at what is happening there, and those are serious issues that can actually pertain national interest. We have heard what is going on in South Africa and will not allow you to call that, allegedly say that is a useless group. But do you have any names of the UPND who are actually refusing to repatriate the body?
Just come in.
I'm saying we will not allow you to call or say that a useless group, because we have all seen on the news what is going on there and the allegations of the poisoning, and will not allow you to call it a useless group, because that will actually affect national interest. But going forward, would like to ask. No, you said a group of useless people.
Okay?
You said yes.
If we have a serious government, we could have seen our government going to protect a former president to that group, against that group.
The police in South Africa is actually working on allegations of the poisoning.
A dignified burial to the former president. They should not allow such a group in South Africa to rise.
Mr. Humphrey, are you aware that the police in South Africa are actually the ones trying to hold an investigation? Are you aware?
The issue for you and me and the UPND government is to ensure that we support the family, the grieving family. It has never happened.
Is there a UPND member that has refused to repatriate the body? Do you have a name of a UPND member who has refused to repatriate the body?
The UPND leadership, no single person has gone to the widow.
Do you have a name of any UPND member who has refused to repatriate the body back to Zambia? Because as far as, do you have a name of any UPND member who has refused to repatriate the body of the late president? Because if I remember, we had the Attorney General who has been tripping to South Africa, going there, trying to negotiate and bring arms together so that the body can be repatriated. But do you have a name of a UPND member that has refused to repatriate the body to the country?
Who has taken, who took the case to court in South Africa? Is it not the government or the UPND? Because the family were very much ready to bring the body to Zambia and bury President HH. But who stopped that in South Africa? Is it not the government?
Mr. Humphrey, I feel we are working on interesting news that is news to us today, because the news on the ground actually is different.
No. I'm trying to ask you, who stopped the bringing back of President home, the burial of President Lungu? Who stopped it? Is it not the government who took an injunction in South Africa?
Mr. Humphrey.
So today we have failed to bury because the government has taken the family to court. That's where we are, and the family have only appealed. So meaning the family is not saying they don't want to bring the body to Zambia. No, the family are very much clear that they are very much ready to bring. Just to apply your wound. What is so difficult?
Mr. Humphrey, do you understand that the late former president was not just a mere person? He was the father of the nation. He was also the father of the president, HH, because he was president of this country. He was president of you. He's just not the president of PF. He's just not the president of Tasila. He was not just the president of Chawama, but the president of this whole country. And hence, by default, he was the father of all the nation. Are you aware of that?
Those are meaningless to all. President Lungu was not born from the government. He was born from the family. The people that have a right, constitutionally, it's the family. There's no law in our books, in our constitution, that says once you become a president, you are a state property. There's no such a law. Okay? There's no such a law. We only get permission or agree with the family. Customary, religiously, that is what it is. Let's not learn away from that. Okay? If the family, even in my family is Yesu, okay? Family kuti banjimina tawalesa kuna bankanya nokusangwa na kuchililo. If it can happen, what about ushiri relative? What is so difficult?
Mr. Humphrey, thank you so much. We have enjoyed your company, and as the breakfast show, we have enjoyed the conversation in interrogating this actually critical national issue. What are your last words before we continue with the show?
My last word is that thank you very much for giving us an opportunity and giving me an opportunity to feature on this platform and speak to the Zambian people. Our call to the Zambian people and the Patriotic Front: let's get united. Let's not be shaken of what is happening. Let's pray for our country. Let's pray for Mama Esther Lungu and the family, that God will intervene in this situation, that God will protect Mama Esther Lungu and the entire family. You, the Zambian people, you have a chance that you should liberate yourself from the UPND in this August election. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Okay, thank you so much. Dear viewers, you're watching us on Topstar, channel 110, and we're coming to you live on our Facebook page, that is PTV2 Zambia, also streaming on our YouTube page, which is PTV2 Zambia, and also on our website, that is ptv2zambia.com. Now let's look at what happened in history. wonderful. We had a conversation with Mr. Humphrey, and it was quite interesting. And we would also like to hear what you're saying. The viewers would like you to comment and be part of the conversation. The breakfast show would not be complete without your contribution, without your input.
Yeah, it's funny how every time we are interviewing someone from the opposition and you ask them about the wrangles, what's going on in the opposition, and they drift away from that. They go to the ruling party and start blaming the ruling party. They're not doing this, you know. They need to take accountable. Like, speak to us on what's going on in the opposition. How are you going to sort out some of these wrangles? We are headed towards the elections. What is the solution towards, you know, this disunity, disorganization? No, you know, because the ruling United Party for National Development
they're
has
just
not
borrowing the words.
They need to be accountable. There is nothing that they are doing.
And he gave a very interesting statement, very serious statement. He said, most of the members or the former leaders of the Patriotic Front are well-to-do. And they are just caring about the livelihoods of those living in Chawama, those living in Matero. So, you know, I wanted to ask him and say, are you aware that those well-to-do, most of them are facing corruption charges? You know, they're actually being found with properties that they cannot explain on how they got those properties. So when you say are well-to-do, were they, how well-to-do were they before they entered office? It raises a lot of eyebrows and a lot of questions. So I think we should be very critically smart when talking about certain things and very circumspective. Because at the end of the day, you just start to expose certain things that we don't know or that we're not there. Because there's a lot of information that Mr. Humphrey has that is very new to the Zambian ear.
Exactly.
And probably maybe we need to sit down and have a conversation in longevity, because we need to know these things, you know.
And, you know, it's good that the conversation today has been around national values and principles. And when you are given such a platform to speak to the Zambian people, especially if you are in the opposition, you need to be careful with certain words that you use. I'm so glad that, you know, some sort of statements had to be clarified earlier on. This is people who are watching, and when we talk about not being organized, or when we talk about we are looking up to some of these leaders in terms of national principles and values, these are some of the things that we're talking about. The name calling, it's okay, I mean, to be polite and use polite words
just
to describe.
Just be noble. There's no problem with being noble.
Coming out like that gives some sort of a picture, especially to the Zambian people, that he described to say the ruling party is competing with the Zambian people who feel like they haven't done enough, you know, of the promises that they actually made before they were elected into power. So now somebody is at home thinking, maybe I should just vote for, you know, the ruling party, because it seems like the opposition has a lot of things that they need to sort out on their own.
Back before the 2021 elections, there was a lot of talk that the opposition and so much anger, but you know, it's exposing them now to say that they are the ones who actually have the hate and have the anger. Because when you look at the repatriation of the body, the reasons what are being given are not realistic. On a cultural basis, when somebody dies, everything ends. That person, if you guys used to argue, the argument dies. That's why they say when someone dies, they become good. It's because whatever you people had is gone. Look, we have arguments in our families. Brothers and sisters have arguments in the same family. What more in politics? Don't you need to expect such things? I think there's need for a school, or politicians need to go through a certain type of therapy to understand where they're putting themselves in. Because leadership is not for the weak. It's not for the faint-hearted. We cannot afford to have the late former president 8 months not yet buried because of anger issues, because of petty issues, because of issues of grief, because of issues of frustration. It should not be like that ever. And going forward, I think we should maybe put an act or something. There should be a school these people should go to, because you know, it's like in the hospitality industry. I have a privilege of having my my small papa who works in the hospitality industry, and because of that, I have learned a few things. We know when how customers talk to these waitresses and whatnot, and sometimes they might be rude, they might be vulgar, but they are taught to keep their calm, keep their cool, and just serve and move on with their lives, because you'll be dealing with people who are going through different things with different emotions from different areas, but your duty at the end of the day is to serve them and do your business and move. So I think we should also have politicians go through such type of therapy, because we can't afford to have another president who had arguments, because it's true that even themselves, the PF, themselves, the leadership, they have got issues themselves.
He did mention that whatever is going on in the opposition is not for the ruling party to worry about. It's none of their business. They shouldn't interfere. You've got that point, but also what I want to stress out is that it would do the opposition good if they unite as a team. Like you said, there's always like conflicts. You fight as siblings in the house, but we need to be careful of the things that we say out there. You've agreed, you know, it would do them good to sit down and agree to say, okay, yeah, it's quite all right, we're having these wrangles, you know, we are a family, we're a house, but let's agree on what we are going to say out there to the media. Because I say so because there's a lot of different stuff that the opposition is saying. You talk to this person, there's another
something
issue.
Different.
This one, there's another issue. There's need for unity in terms of what they bring out there, and I think it's just, it's also the reason why every party has a spokesperson to represent them when it comes to interviews and so on and so forth. Not saying that other people cannot speak on certain platforms, but that agreement and statements that you bring out to the public shows some sort of unity when you agree on what to say or what to put out there.
Oh yeah, I think that's quite very, very crucial and very critical, that and we should look at very seriously, and we should actually scrutinize and look carefully to those people that want to be leaders, our leaders, because when someone is popular, famous, you can be a good leader, you're going to win. I think that should not be the bar to actually enter into politics or to actually want to lead. But anyway, we've had an interesting conversation with Mr. Humphrey, and would like to have more conversations with him, because there's a lot we need to know and learn from him. But anyway, we'll shortly be getting into the world of sports with the big man, JC, of course, to update us on a few things. I think I overheard something yesterday. I want to ask him about NAPSA stars. Yeah, at least I'm learning sports now. I'm forced to learn sports. Yeah, NAPSA stars.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I should be ashamed of
You know, there was a friend of mine that was asking me to say, you know, I'm wondering, have you ever met a guy that's not into sports? You know, even just football. What do they do?
What are you trying to? What
do they
are
do?
Are you imposing
so
those?
Now, my first thought was, Dominic, my God, what do you do over the weekend? Like, I know you hang out with friends, but obviously there are a lot of your friends that just love football. So when they're watching football, what do? You're forced to watch?
I watch I watch the game, but the problem is I don't know who my friends are supporting. So whenever the person with the ball goes to their goal and scores or tries to score, I come out in jubilation, and I will know if I'm right or wrong if they don't back me up, you know. But yeah, I enjoy watching soccer without knowledge of it. But yeah, at least yesterday I got some information about NAPSA stars. I don't know about the leadership, and I think JC will say much about it. I don't know if it's NAPSA stars, I want to believe. I think JC, whoever is smiling and happy that I know something at least about football.
Yeah.
But yeah, we shouldn't be joined with JC in the world of football. Sports. After the break, don't go away.
Bushe mwalikwata Top Star Decoder. Bushe mwalishiwa kutila kutimwatamba Prime TV2 Zambia pa channel 110 nga chakutila mlefu okumfwa amadiashi ayalekanalekana okufuma kunchende ishapusana. Bakanyekanye mukumipekanisisha amadiashi konse kuntumletu mfuila maliba abaiteanya inshita yonse kumulabasa wenu wa Prime TV2. Prime TV2 omulabasa wenu kumadiashi nembila nsuma mumishi yenu.
Right, so you're still watching the Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on Prime TV2. The channel number on Topstar is 110 and also PTV2, that is on our Facebook page. Now we get into the world of sport and find out what exactly is happening for those of you that are conversant with Zambian sports. We do have JC in the studio to take us through what has been happening and what will be happening, what to expect in terms of some games that are yet to come. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Welcome to our Sunrise Breakfast Show.
Thank you.
I love your feet.
Well, thank you.
Your shoes, to be specific.
Thank you very much.
All right, so take it up. What's happening in the world of sport this morning?
Well, there's so much that is going on. You remember that all this week I've been talking about the volleyball team that was in camp, the beach volleyball team that has been in camp at OIDC. They finally traveled yesterday. They will be taking part in the tournament that is happening in Namibia, scheduled for tomorrow. That is 19th of February to 23rd of February 2026. So now they will be trying to get into qualifiers. Of course, they've got slots in as far as the LA 2028 Olympic Games is concerned. So what is happening is that they've put them in groups or in the competition will be zonal or in zonal circuits. So this is the very first zonal circuit in terms of the qualifiers. And Zambia will be hoping to qualify to LA. And obviously they only have in Africa 6 positions that are supposed to be qualified for. So we expect Zambia to do better. So this is when they were traveling at OIDC before they started off, and those are some of the pictures that we had to take, and it was amazing to have them. And of course they're in good spirits, knowing exactly what they're supposed to do and what is going to come through from this particular tournament. It's a beautiful tournament, and we hope that Zambia is going to do better and probably get into the last round of qualifiers to get into this great tournament in LA. Everybody else wants to qualify, so we hope for the best for them. In another one is the pool tournament that is happening, and of course the Mizo Cup 2026 is different this year. The inaugural one happened last year, and there's so much that has really been improved and been included in this great tournament. One of those is going into different provinces to go and have some of the games happen and the qualifiers. And some of the teams or some of the players have qualified to the grand finale that is going to happen on the 21st and to 22nd. Of course, that is going to be in Lusaka at Spice Pool Club or Pool Restaurants, and that's where Spice 8 Pool Restaurant, that's again the grand finale is going to be. So it's a very special one. They went to Eastern Province. Some of the players qualified to the grand finale, and they went to the Copper Belt, and just 2 days ago they were in Central Province. So some of the players have qualified, and this is to make it happen so that at least this is going to be a national tournament. Of course, we've had so many tournaments, but this one is different because we've got some of the other teams or other people that have been encouraged to come through from different provinces. And you might know that those that have qualified, they will be taken care of by the people that are working on the ground, just making sure that this tournament is a success. So they will make sure that they take care of the people from from the ones that have qualified from Copper Belt, Central Province, and not forgetting Eastern Province. So they will be taken care of when they come to Lusaka for the 2 days that are going to be part of this particular tournament. One thing that you should understand also is that when they get into the knockout stages in the last round of 16, they will have jerseys. At least jerseys will be wearing the same color, everything, and of course different colors, but the same make, and it's beautiful to have this. And you've got a lot of money that will be given to so many people. When you get into the last 16, you know that at least you have you walk away not empty-handed. At least you have something to go home with. And also have the grand money that is going to be won. The men will get 40,000 kwacha. It's a lot of money for, especially today, for a man to walk away with that, and 20,000 for the females. Of course, you can actually see all those prizes that will be given to people. And there's 2 beautiful trophies. When they launched this tournament, the Amizo Cup 2026 tournament, I saw the jerseys. They're looking very nice, and one of these days I'll bring one of these jerseys so that you can actually have a fair look at the jersey. And then of course the trophy, very, very beautiful trophies that they have, big trophies that even when you put in your cabinet trophy, or if you do have a cabinet trophies that will put these trophies, it will look magnificent. Very beautiful trophies that we have, big ones for that matter. Not these trophies that we see getting from Chinese shops. These ones are better trophies. So there will be a fight. The defending champions, the 2 defending champions for the ladies and the gentlemen. Of course, we're talking about Kelvin Nkandu. Fikoti is called. He's looking forward to defending his title, and he's been really fantastic. He's been great as actually. So he's been winning. He's been beating teams not just in Zambia, of course, in Southern Africa as well. He's been beating those opponents that he's faced, and he's feared, and that's the reason why he's called Fikoti. You know, Fikoti, you know, like you beaten Fikoti, yeah. So he's called Fikoti. And then Nancy Malindi, she's got a mother in terms of how she does in terms of pushing women pool. She's been really tremendous. She's been fantastic. She's been intentional in helping a lot of young people, female players, go through whatever they go through. She helps them away from pool and off pool. She does help anything financially and all that. The reason why she's called mother in terms of pool, and she is the inaugural champion. And she also said, you know what, I'm going to defend my title, and especially that these trophies are big, so I want to have in my cabinet of trophies that I have, this one should be in that. So we hope to see how the competition is going to be. But obviously, everybody else is training, everybody else is looking forward to winning money, having the trophy, and at the end of the day, the conversations that is coming out of this. And one thing that this particular tournament helps is the conversation that happens, because we've got so many people that are coming from business perspective, and people that can help you in terms of business. So many people that are coming from the corporate world that can help you even find a job. So many people that can help you in business, or even in just life, and how you talk to you, in how you carry your life and how you live your life. It's also important, especially for young people, whenever you get this money and everything, you don't know how to do with the money, but at least they do help, financial help that they give. Well, getting into basketball, these are some of the results that came from the weekend. It was amazing to see the likes of Matero Magic winning. These are teams that have always dominated basketball. They've been really fantastic. They call them the Tamanga Boys, and these are the teams that are fighting to get into the top 4 and probably play get into the national championship. And if they win the national championship, they will represent Zambia in the BAO. So these are some of the games that have happened over the weekend, some of the results, and you can pick one of those results that happened at National Sports Council. That's NASDAQ, and this is the standings. That's how the table looks like, and for the feminines and for the B League as well, the C League 2 and the Premier League. Those are some of the fixtures, or the table, and how it stands and how it's looking like. I did pass it quickly, but anyway, those are some of the things that you can actually see, and I'm sure that you can pick and see which, if you are a basketball fanatic, I definitely believe that you can pick your team and see where they are and what is really happening. If you're not giving them much support, that's exactly what is happening. And of course, the match talked about is a ZRA sponsored tournament that will start on Friday, And those are some of the fixtures on a Friday, the fixtures that will be happening, some of the teams that will be there. We've got teams that have been invited from the Copper Belt. It's a lot of money that is involved. You know, it's ZRA. So probably they even want to teach a lot of people about invoice, about tax, about a lot of things that they really need to learn. The ZRA is using basketball to teach people in terms of how you have to pay taxes and how taxes work and all the things that they're supposed to know in football, in sports and everywhere else. But they are using basketball this time around. And this tournament is going to run from Friday to Sunday. And that's the winner is going to be announced on Sunday, and they will play so many games. So you can actually go and watch these games at Nasdaq Sports Complex starting Fridays. You can watch them on Saturday and Sunday. The grand finale is going to happen on Sunday. So let's go in numbers and support. And even the people that will be just watching these games, you will learn a lot of things about what you need to understand or what you need to know about a lot of things that are going on at this particular moment. Getting to football, I know that there's so much that is happening in as far as football is concerned, and obviously we know that Zesco United, away from the continental football, they were knocked out, and this time around they're looking forward to doing better in terms of what has been really happening in terms of the domestic league. They're back in the domestic league, and they're really looking great in terms of how the prospect of them playing ABSA Cup depends on the game that they will be playing tomorrow at Sunset Stadium. It's going to be at 15 hours. And remember that if they don't win this game, of course, Zanaco has already qualified into the ABSA Cup. The top 7 teams from the Premier League will qualify to the ABSA Cup, part of the 16 teams that will qualify. So what happens is the first half of the season, that's when they pick teams that are going to play in ABSA. So the first half of the season entails 17 games played in the first half of the season. That's 17. That's a half of the games. So if you are in the top 7, that is in the Premier League, into the top 4 in the Division 1, and top first teams in the provincial Division 1. So 10 teams will be gotten, and they will go for the playoffs, and 5 teams will be gotten from there, and then we'll have plus 7 teams that will participate from the national Division 1, and of course they will make up 16 teams that are going to be part of the ABSA Cup tournament that is going to happen. And you know that ABSA has got so much money. It's just less games that you play, a lot of money that you make. A team is going to be different. So Zesco United, all they have to do is win the game. If they draw, Muza FC is going to play ABSA Cup. But if they win, Zesco United will be among the 7 teams that are going to play ABSA Cup. So this is a do or die for Zesco United. But of course, for Zanaco, it is they have everything to play for. Of course, they want to get back on top of the table. They want to play continental football. They want to win the league. So they have to win this particular game for them. So there's no two ways about it. No two ways about it for Zesco United. Of course, you have to get back from continental football, dust it off, and get back into the domestic league and start with this game. That is a very crucial game and very, very important. And of course, the draws will be done after the Zesco United Zanaco game is played tomorrow. Coming to COSAFA, we all know that the Copper Queens traveled to South Africa, and they're already in Polokwane, where they will be playing their games, and definitely this is going to be absolutely amazing games. And mind you, South Africa is the most decorated in as far as women COSAFA is concerned. They've won 7 trophies. Zambia are the defending champions, and they will play their game tomorrow at 15 hours against Botswana. So the tournament kicks off today, and the first match will be the final, the grand finale. The final is going to be on the first match. But one thing that you should know is that the first team from these groups will qualify to the semi-finals, and the best runner-up. So one runner-up will be qualifying. So Zambia should expect to be number 1 in this particular group for them to defend this title. Zambia, South Africa, and Malawi are using this tournament to prepare for the Africa Cup of Nations, which will be between 17th March and 3rd April 2026. This Africa Cup or WAFCON that is going to be in South Africa. So the first games are today. This is the first game that will happen. Of course, Lesotho will play against Angola. That is the first game, and of course we can watch those games. And then South Africa will play against Malawi. And remember that this is a big game for Malawi, a big game for Zambia, for South Africa as well. South Africa, they decorated on the last time that they won this WAF, or they won COSAFA is 2022. So really need to get back into winning ways 2023 it was Malawi who beat Zambia, and 2024 Zambia won it, beat South Africa on penalties, and this is called the 2025 because we didn't have it in 2025. We're having it in 2026, so that's the reason why we see it's written Women's Championship 2025, so COSAFA Women's Championship 2025. And one of the groups has got 3, so obviously it's going to be amazing to see all these games happen. And they will be live on some Facebook places and all that. So this is the first game that will be played. Lesotho versus Angola at 15 hours. We'll have South Africa playing against Malawi. And finally, the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup were done. These are some of the teams that were remaining. The 8 teams remained in CAF Champions League, and the 8 teams that remained in the CAF Confederations Cup, and the draws were done. These are the draws for the quarterfinals of the CAF Champions League. Some of the teams, and unfortunately, no Zambian teams has remained in there because Power Dynamos and Zesco United were eliminated from this tournament. It's amazing, very sad situation, but well, it tells us a story where we have to get back and do better. I don't want to use the drawing board because I think the drawing board is full. We've been going back to the drawing board without any tangible results coming from there. And finally, the CAF Confederations Cup draws were done. Those are some of the quarterfinals games or matchups that will be happening. Some of those important teams that you want to watch in as far as African games is concerned. So this is much more of what we have. So for those of you who would love to watch games, Nasdaq Sports Complex, Sunset Stadium tomorrow. Copper Queens will be playing tomorrow against Botswana, the first game, so you can watch out for those games, and probably we'll tell you the results on Friday when we get back, and probably all the games that will be happening, and the games will be happening on the weekend. So thank you very much. For me, this is all I had for you.
All right, thank you so much for...
And talking of what he was saying, really, about NAPSA Stars, anyway, they changed, I think I talked about it on Wednesday, or on Monday. So they changed the coaching staff. They changed the coach. They changed the assistant coach as well as the goalkeeper coach. So they've got Tenant Chirumba OTC squad. Is back. He was picked as a technical advisor, but now he is a coach and the new assistant coach and the goalkeeper coach. So the technical bench has changed for NAPSA Stars.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Right, quite some interesting stuff happening in the world of sport. What do you have planned for the rest of the day?
Well, I have to get glued for these games that are happening, and probably do have some few interviews later on. Somebody was even just calling here. Some grandmas who are playing football in Kalingalinga, so I need to go and do some interviews there just to find out exactly why they got into football. Yeah, but we've seen them going to South Africa before. They've gone to Malawi. They've gone to different countries. They call themselves grandmas.
Oh, actually, my mom is part of that team.
Oh, really? What's her name? I'd like to go and do interviews with her.
It's fine.
I will find her.
Just let her be.
No, I'll find her.
No, you probably find her because we look exactly alike. So
yeah.
you see.
And it's recommended. I think it's recommendable that they've been really doing this. South Africa has been doing it for the longest period of time. Yeah. And we just realized that instead of these people just sitting down and doing nothing, I think these exercises of playing football is just going to help out a lot in terms of these communicable diseases.
Exactly.
It helps a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
And I wonder why you're not really in football when your mother is playing. I'm sure she understands this better.
It's her interest.
It's her interest. I know your interest anyway. I'm getting to know.
All right, JC, thank you so much for that. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that we did talk about on our program today. We did begin with the headlines shaping national conversation, of course, and we did discuss a few things around some of the stories that made headlines today, or some of the things that we'll definitely be looking out for throughout the entire day. And we also highlighted a few things from what to expect as the president will be addressing Parliament on national values and principles. And of course, there were a few questions that we did ask our guest who came through earlier we did have a conversation with him online, and he highlighted a few issues around the importance of national principles and values. And unfortunately, we were not able to speak to Mr. Leslie CHIKUSE, but he will be coming through this Friday on our breakfast show to just highlight on a few things as the president will be getting to address the nation on the issues of national principles and values. We also looked at some interesting stories around the education sector, which has really been having a lot of issues around school-going children. And the latest story is centered around, a viral video where girls were imitating or saying things on how their chemistry teacher has been speaking to them. But obviously it needs a lot of verification before we conclude on what exactly has been going on. So feel free to also interact with us on our social media platform and tell us what's happening in your communities this morning, or what you have observed on social media and would like to air your views on some of those particular issues. It is PTV2 Zambia on Facebook. You can leave your comments and your contribution in our live video, even as we get to close off our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout this entire program. My name is RHODA MULENGA, and on behalf of my co-host Dominic and the entire production team, goodbye and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.